Welcome to the Writing with Purpose podcast, where I, Anna Williscroft, chat with fellow writers and outdoor enthusiasts about how we can embrace creativity and curiosity to live a life full of adventure that doesn't feel like hard work. I delve into exploratory conversations about my two loves in life, writing and nature connection, as part of my mission to share the well-being benefits they both bring. It's wonderful to have you here today. Does your work make you happy and fill you with joy? It's a fundamental question for all business owners, yet sometimes unhelpful stuff can whittle away the pleasures. In this open and honest podcast episode, I chat with business coach Libby Langley about how company owners can achieve greater focus, work fewer hours, make more profit, and find more joy in their business life. Hi, Libby. Thank you very much for joining me on today's Writing with Purpose podcast. It's lovely to have you. And we've been chatting a little bit before hitting the record button, haven't we? Because we actually, we first met each other about 12 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, when
we
were both doing something in the world of social media.
Yeah, I think my world has changed less than yours actually over the time, I guess. But yeah, we met when we were both going to be delivering a BTEC in social media marketing, which I did actually deliver. I don't know if you ever delivered it. Did you?
I delivered one. Yeah, I delivered one, and I also did a little bit of work again for David with a couple of apprentices that he had a little bit further on down the line, but that was a slightly different setup, I guess. But yeah, it was when social media was just sort of coming into being on people's minds, wasn't it? We hadn't got any of the analytics side of things, or, you know, it just wasn't the big beast that it is now.
No, it was a darn sight easier. I mean, I first started teaching social media in 2009. So I guess, three or 4 years or something before we met. And it was so much easier. You know, you could put a post on Facebook and make your fortune by the weekend kind of thing. And it just, Instagram didn't even exist and video didn't really exist other than on YouTube. And it just, over the years, it's just got more and more complicated. So I don't help people with the how to do it anymore. It's like, I'm not going to teach someone how to do reels because, you know, you can figure that out yourself or buy a specific course for that. But what hasn't changed for me is how the marketing strategy is still absolutely relevant. And combined with the kind of business strategy. But yeah, you still need to get out there and connect with people. You just have a lot more choice now as to where you do that.
Yeah, a lot more choice. You got to pay a lot of attention to what's going on and whether you're doing it properly. I've just, while you were talking then, I just had a little flashback in my head. Do you remember Foursquare?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
And Periscope.
Periscope, yes.
Do you know one that I used to really like was called Natter? And Natter was was it 5 words? You could only post 5 words. It was like 5-word conversations, and it was just really quite clever. But I have a feeling that it's now been taken over by some sort of adult-based entertainment.
Really interesting.
I think it's changed over the years. But yeah, I used to quite like Natter. But yeah, it's funny.
That's a good way to practice headlines and subtitles and taglines, isn't it? To get good at that.
I liked the simplicity, and I think of all the social media platforms, I like the simpler they are, the more I enjoy them. Because when you think someone says, "Oh, did you know you could do this?" and it's like, no, but why would that be there? Or why would it be hidden? Or why, you know, and they almost become, well, for some people, they are jobs in themselves, right? Aren't they? When I don't know. I kind of feel that simpler is always, but well, that's my mantra for life, really. But simple is always better with everything. Otherwise, you go down some rabbit hole and tear your hair out, and for no gain, really.
We do, exactly. And yeah, you don't want anything to be convoluted or complicated. You know, life in general is quite complicated these days anyway. So
got enough just getting through the day. I don't need anything else.
Exactly. So forgive me, Libby, I didn't actually introduce you properly when we started the podcast. So you are the queen of easy business, shall we say. And you're an award-winning business strategist, and you offer no BS coaching for savvy business owners. I loved your business cards, by the way, when I checked out your Instagram profile. They look fabulous.
Yeah, they're new. I got some new ones. Yeah, I am. I've been a business coach, I mean, really since the beginning, since 2011, but like we've just said, I focused a lot on marketing strategy, the
Yeah.
digital marketing strategy, social media strategy in the early days. But the things that I've always really liked is the more rounded business stuff. And what really gets me excited is kind of looking under the bonnet of people's businesses.
Mm,
Are you making any money? How can you make more profit? Why on earth are you charging £4.50 for that when it should be £450? This
yeah.
this kind of stuff, and just helping people get clarity on why it's not quite falling into place.
Mm.
And sometimes it's something really simple. Sometimes it's mindset, sometimes it's a practical thing. And I love it. I really enjoy it because it's like perpetual problem solving,
Yeah.
and that really suits my brain.
Yeah. I saw something on your website actually that there was a little section that said about creative thinking. And that is problem solving, isn't it? We have
Mm,
to get
mm,
creative
mm.
sometimes, and quite often being the outside person, you can be working with your clients, they've got no clue what's going on, but you see it and
Yeah,
it's clear for you. And then you're able to talk them through actually finding that themselves, and then using that simple strategy to
yeah,
move forward and make whatever changes that they need to make, to as you say, not charge £4.50 and charge 450 instead, which I think most business owners have been there, because a
yeah.
lot of us, and me, myself included, when I set up, I'd never run a business before. So I just wanted to do what I enjoyed doing, got no idea about the financial
Mm,
side of it, didn't add up how much time it took, to do the admin side and all of that stuff that you have to add in
yeah.
to your monthly, to your hourly fee, or however you work out your.
And there's no reason that anybody kind of should know that. People beat themselves up for doing it wrong. And it's
Mm,
like, no, because how are you supposed to know that? You're a brilliant practitioner at whatever it is that you've got the skills in. Doesn't make you a brilliant business owner from day
yeah.
one. You could, that's another skill that you can learn, and you can get support and all this stuff. But it's, yeah, we don't know. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing either. I remember one of the services I offered right from the start, some social media management. Um, and so managing people's accounts, and someone said to me, a web designer who I kind of did some stuff with, she said, oh, if it's under £100 a month, I've got loads of clients who'll pay you. And I'm like, well, let's make it 80 quid then.
Yeah.
And of course quickly realized that managing, it was Facebook and Twitter, but managing those accounts for a month for 80 quid was insane.
Yeah.
And I got staff to do it for me. I had employed a team of people, got the team to do it for me, but within a very short space of time, the top packages were like 600 and something, because
Mm.
you got to factor everything in. But yeah, I'm the same. I didn't know what I was doing, and I learned along the way. And I think that's kind of partly why I can say to people, right, what I did was this, what I suggest you do is this.
Yes. Yes, you've been there, you've done that, you've got the t-shirt, and now you're
Exactly.
just helping them so that they don't make the same
Exactly.
errors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
completely relate to that, because I didn't manage social media for a long time, and then when I started doing it, I also had a team, and it was very obvious after a short period of time that there was just, it was making a loss because
Yeah.
of how much time you actually have to spend managing those different
Yeah.
accounts. And to the person on the outside, all you're doing is putting a few bits of content out there, but actually you've got to create that content, you've got to put it out, you need to know what time to put it out, you've got to respond to certain
Yeah.
things, and there's so much more involved even then. And now it's even worse. It's even
Yeah. Oh,
worse.
I haven't done it. 2015, I stopped doing that, and
Mm,
I wouldn't in a million years touch it. And people have come to me before and said, "What do you think about doing this?" And I said, honestly, stick to your one-to-one or your
mm,
program or whatever it is that you have, because yeah, the time that takes, and how it kind of seeps into your psyche almost. You're always thinking about someone else's business, and when you've got to market
yeah,
your own business as well, it's just, I mean, if people want, I've had clients who've been really successful at it, but it's about understanding kind of what it actually means. It's not a way to make a quick buck.
mm,
Arguably it used to be, to a certain extent, but these days it just isn't, particularly with the video content and having to create all this collateral in different formats for different platforms. It's,
yeah.
yeah, it's a tough gig to do. So the people who are good at it are absolutely worth their weight in gold, I would say
Mm.
now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is, really is. So people can work with you in a variety of different ways, can't they? They can have a clarity call with you. They
Hmm.
can have a mastermind, which is something
Hmm.
quite new, I think. Is it your mastermind day sessions? And
Yeah,
then your
I went through
yeah.
another pivot at the end of 2023. I love a pivot. Well, that's the thing, because I'm neurodivergent, I'm autistic ADHD, so I do like to spice things up.
Mm.
For the ADHD side and the autistic side is go, please don't change anything else. Um, but it's yeah, I've always offered for many, many years, I've offered one-to-one coaching. And I decided that I was going to stop offering that, or stop taking on new clients. I'm sorry, I still have existing clients, and run mastermind days instead. And the reason I did that, because I really love the kind of getting into the nitty-gritty detail and really being able to help people and seeing it on their face, the difference that's made. And then they go off and do it.
Yeah.
And that's my job done. And I love that. And I know I'm really, really, really good at making those kind of transformations in a short space of time, but I enjoy it. And that's almost the most important thing, because if you
Mm.
don't enjoy your own business, then there's no point in doing it. And they're at my house, so it's really comfortable for everybody. And yeah,
Yeah.
they're really, really good fun. So yeah, I'm so glad that I kind of took that jump and just thought, you know what, I'm not going to offer this service that pays my mortgage. I'm going to stop it and do something else
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
But it's
And
all on
why
the
not?
same theme. It's just the delivery method, right?
Mm, it is exactly, yeah. And I think more and more so now people enjoy that collaboration, that community, yeah, because you allow up to 5 people, don't
Yeah,
you, on the mastermind. So, people have gone through different issues, the same issues, they're able to
yeah,
share best practice, they're able to talk through things, chew over the fat a little bit, and just design something that's then going to work for them, go away, as you say, implement that, and then come
yeah.
back and have another one should they want another one,
Yeah, no,
and
exactly.
take that next step.
I think the most powerful thing for me, I guess, is that people, well, it happens with my one-to-one clients too, but people often cry. And the majority of people I work with are women.
Mm.
We are an emotional bunch, but the people often cry because it's such a safe space that's provided for them. And I think being in my house makes that even more so, actually, because
Mm.
you're not worried about, I don't know, a member of staff coming in to take a drinks order or whatever would happen if you were at a venue. And people will often just cry just as they're talking stuff through, and something comes up for them, and it's like, right, then we can deal with that. And
Yeah.
it's really, yeah, it's really powerful. And I love seeing people's transition. And I'm not solely responsible, because the other people in the room, like you say, you can all learn from each other. But I guess I'm really proud to be the kind of facilitator of that space. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's they're your little puppies almost that you're nurturing in a sense.
Yes, they're my
Yeah.
they're my proteges. That's what they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puppies was probably the wrong word, but
Yeah, I
you come
don't.
out with the wrong words when you just started
No,
talking. So
absolutely, you certainly do. Yeah. Kittens, maybe, but not
not
puppies aren't for me.
puppies.
I'm much more of a cat person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't mind either. I haven't got one at the moment either at the moment, but I don't mind either. Yeah, and I think it's a good point that you make about the crying because that's okay if
Yeah,
people do break down in that way, because it's either they're showing a realization of something that, oh yeah, I shouldn't be doing that, or that you've sort of shone a light on something that there's been a realization there
yeah.
for them.
And
And
it
that's
shows that it
powerful.
matters. It shows that it matters to them.
Yeah,
And that's the real kind of magic there, because if you're not in any way emotional, either in any direction, you probably don't really care that much.
yeah.
But if you do cry or get angry or elated, or then it matters. And yeah, it's got to matter to you in business, or it's all a bit of a waste of time. You might as well get a job.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm definitely unemployable by anybody now.
Oh, same, mate, same.
So tell me a little bit about your book. So you've written a best-selling book, Life in Business, Easy Ways to Work Less, Earn More, and Embrace True Happiness. So, I've always been a writer, copywriter.
Mm,
That's what I sort of transitioned my business to after doing the social media. So copywriting is what I've probably done for about 7 years now, maybe. And I transitioned again because now I focus more on journaling, so writing for well-being. And I'm also going to be venturing down the fiction book writing
oh, cool.
uh, starting this year. So yeah, tell me a little bit about what encouraged you to do that, and the journey that you went on with that. I'm really curious as to how you found that.
Um, well, when I first kind of started engaging with like entrepreneurial communities as my part of my own self-development process, so I guess 2012, something like that. Everybody wrote a book. You got to have a book. You got to have a book. Why haven't you written a book yet? I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. And so it's always kind of been normal in my world. And I just never did. And I think part of that was I was going through a lot of things personally. I mean, over a decade, right? But a lot of things personally, and trying to find the business model that really fitted me, whilst also trying to find me in it all. Not to sound too eat, pray, love about it all, but I think that's kind of my journey. And I don't know, 2022, the day just arrived when I thought, now I'm going to do it. And actually, so it came out February 2023, but I started October or something 2022. And honestly, it wasn't that hard to write. And because I'm really good at creating content, I find that really easy, and I've been creating content for years.
Yeah.
So to kind of it's a coat, it's not a story that flows from beginning to end. It's kind of a series of anecdotes and coaching lessons and dip in, dip out. So it's a really accessible book and written very much in my coaching style and the style of my podcast and stuff like that. And it kind of just came together. So it took me, I think I started in the October and I'd finished it all by Christmas was my deadline, I think.
Brilliant. Well
So
done.
somebody else did all the typesetting and all the design, and I didn't do any of that. So yeah, and then it came out at the beginning of February. So it was, it's something that it was kind of weird, because when it first came out, I think I felt a bit of a fraud. You know, you get to be an Amazon bestseller, so self-published. So you get to be an Amazon bestseller based on the volume that you sell, and that's fine. It's very different to being a New York Times bestseller, right? You know, it's a different positioning. And I guess there was kind of a bit of, well, I didn't find this hard to do, therefore is it worth reading? But as the feedback started to come in, it's been incredible, and I know that it's changed people's working lives. They work differently now, and I've had proper feedback from people about that. So yeah, it's really cool, and I'm getting more and more confident about presenting it to people and signing copies and behaving like an author, you know.
Yeah.
But I think I'd say it's kind of taken the year that it's been out to actually kind of go, yeah, I am genuinely really proud of this, and it
Yeah.
really does
Yeah.
make a difference. Yeah.
And we all suffer from imposter syndrome at some
Yeah.
point. And, it's not just a one-off thing. It can bite us when we're not even looking for it. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for those people that are just listening, I am recording this, and Libby's got one of her books on a shelf behind her. And
Because
I
I'm
do
nothing if
remember.
not on brand.
Got to be, you got to be.
Always
But
there.
I remember you sharing various covers of that and colours, I think, on LinkedIn as well, and asking people's feedback, which I think is a good part of that process as well, because you're already getting feedback before anything's even come out, aren't you, from the community, people who are within the sort of space that are going to benefit from that book. So, I mean, would you say for people that are interested in purchasing the book, is it for a business owner that maybe is a certain phase of their career, their timeline of their business, or is it just anybody that wants to sort of learn more about how to get the best use out of?
Yeah, it's not, I mean, if you read it when you're just starting up, it's going to save you a big old load of headaches, right? So it's great for that. But if you're 10 years into your journey, even if you feel comfortable and confident with what you do, something will resonate with you and you think, actually, maybe I can change that. Maybe that's not sitting quite right. So it is for everybody. It's for people who are, it's kind of women focused, but not exclusively. And it's for people who want to have their business but also have their life. So it's very anti-hustle. It's simpler and easier ways of doing things in business, and it's practical as well. So there are things that you can implement. So it's for people who perhaps want to go down the coaching route but aren't ready to invest in that, but want to get that support and just want to feel that they're more in control and less flappy about what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's a nice introduction to you as well, if you're sharing
Sure.
some of your experiences in there, some of these practical ways that people can implement them is what you would share anyway with someone working with them on a mastermind or a one-to-one.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think having these sorts of books are just that they're really accessible to the people and the author that's written them. Same as the podcast as well. You've got your own podcast. It's a great way for people to get to know you and think, Libby talks a lot of sense. She's my kind of person. Let me find out more and see her face to face. It's just one of those nice, easy ways to get to know someone. Yeah. Have you got any plans to write another one?
Do you know, I almost immediately started writing another one because ADHD, so why would I not? And I've got all the notes, and I actually had to stop myself, and because it was supposed to come out last September, so it would have been 6-7 months after the first one. And I stopped myself and I said to my book publisher, I'm like, I'm not going to do this. This is madness. Give the first one time to breathe. Let me kind of step into that position rather than just churning them out, because you need to market them. You need to tell people about them. And if there's too many, then that's quite difficult. When you're also marketing a podcast and your programs and where you can work with people and where people can work with you. So I don't know if I will ever do another one. I don't know. It's definitely quite far on the back burner now, but it's been an interesting experience, and maybe I'll do an updated version of this one and tweak it and change it. But at the minute, no. Do you know what? I'm just sitting back and watching my royalties come in.
You're happy for that residual income to flow.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot. Anyone who makes, to be Stephen King or J.K. Rowling or something, I mean, you have to sell millions of copies to make a lot of money from a book, really, or certainly hundreds and thousands of copies. So yeah, but it's nice to get that little payment each month. That's kind of like, oh,
yeah,
definitely.
fun. And it's just another, it's something it's something else that you've achieved as well. It's it's great. You mentioned Stephen King. It's not here. I'm reading his On Writing at the moment.
Oh, are you?
So it's part memoir from his childhood and how he grew up and how he got into writing, and also part sort of tips and strategies to use as a fiction writer. And it's riveting. It's really, I'm constantly there with a book in my face at the moment.
Yeah. No, well, he's a master of it. I mean, I loved his books when I was a teenager, and that is, that's a long time ago now. So he's been doing this for a long time. So yeah, and always comes up with new ideas and different plot twists. And I marvel at somebody who can kind of do that without it ending up being exactly the same. Yeah, I think he's I bet that's a great book to read.
Yeah, and he spots things, in daily life, and then he'll sort of make a note of it, and then a couple of years later he'll spot something else, and there'll be a connection with the thing that he spotted 2 years before, and then that will create the story. It's really interesting. It's also interesting to see how much he got paid for certain books that are now massive, and you think that wasn't very much in those days.
Probably not a lot.
Got to
but then he sold
somewhere.
the film. Yeah, he sold the film rights, and it's all fine in the end. But yeah, no, probably. But that's the same for all of us when we start out in business, though, isn't it? We just, me charging 80 quid for something that was worth hundreds. We were all exactly the same, and I don't think there's any person in business, whether they're a professional author or they're a coach or whatever they are, who hasn't been on that journey. You ask anyone at the top of their game and they will say, yeah, so the first year, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Which is good, which validates all of us and all of our journeys, really, that we're following the path that we kind of have to follow.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a learning curve, and sometimes we have to do these things that somebody points out to us isn't quite ideal. We've got that realization, and then we change for the better. And it's all the journey, isn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
It is.
So one of the things that I like to ask people, because my loves in life are writing and the great outdoors, as well as sort of being creative and having that marketing experience, if you like. So what relationship do you have with the great outdoors? And is there any way that nature has sort of supported your journey over the years?
Well, we moved about 18 months ago to the edge of the Peak District. So we have some of the greatest outdoors on pretty much on, 10 minutes up the road, which is fab. So there is something really special about going. We've always done quite a lot of walking, always been to the Lake District and not walked around France, but done a lot of walking in France, walked around France, not that dedicated.
Yeah, that would have been a
And
trip and a half.
yeah, I mean, I'm still going. Yeah, no. but there's something really, I don't know what the word is. I want to say cleansing, but that's not a word that I would kind of use, but I don't know what is a better word, about just being up in the wilds when you can't see another soul, and you just take a deep breath, and it's like, what was I worrying about? And I think partly that's being away from the four walls, partly it's being away from technology. I mean, sure, you got your phone in your pocket, right? Because you're tracking your steps or something, but you're not, you're not like surrounded by the technology buzz. And I do think that there's something very kind of life affirming about that, and just makes you realize that you can kind of do anything, because all you need is you and your brain. And yeah, so I really like doing that. I'm less keen on walking up hills. I've done all the highest peaks in the Lake District, and I absolutely hate going uphill, but I like the view and I like coming down.
Yeah.
So I have a love-hate relationship with some of it.
Sometimes that's harder on the knees when you're coming down than when you're going up.
No, I'm all right on that, but my husband, yeah, he's all right going up but can't come down. So between us, we're a right old pair of cronks.
Yeah, but I think cleansing actually is quite a good word, because you're sort of detoxifying yourself a little bit from those four walls, as you mentioned, all of the digital stuff that's going on, all of the interruptions, the distractions that we have, and it is just you and this expansiveness that's out there. So it kind of helps to reset and recharge a little bit for when you get back into the office, or when you get back with a client and you're coaching with them, where your mind has got to be on them, and there's not sort of the room necessarily for the daydreaming quite the same, which you can
I think the conversations you have, I mean, I don't go on my own, I always go with my husband, and the conversations you have just are perhaps slightly freer and slightly different, because you're just walking and chatting, and that's quite a nice different space, to be in too.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about taking any clients outside?
No, not really, because I think being autistic is just, I already started to think of all the ways that would be really stressful for me. So no, it's not controlled enough of an environment, I think, for me to be comfortable with that. Yeah, which that's kind of quite weird actually, but I understand why it could be good. But I'm not sure. Even if going walking with someone, like with a friend rather than my husband, I'm like, I don't know, because we would normally do this and this and this.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the way my brain works, right?
Yeah. Just having a little bit of that safe structure almost.
Yeah, I think it could be great though. If you can work like that, I think it would be fantastic. But yeah, no, it's not something that kind of springs to mind. It's the same as like, because I offer VIP days as well. People can work with me for a whole day, and people have a VIP spa days, and I'm like, I can't think of anything more stressful than going to a spa with a client when I don't know it. No, I don't know it. I don't know what it is. It just, the thought of it just doesn't appeal to me. But I know that that's because of the way I'm wired. Yeah. So it's interesting, and there's no. We're all like this, right? We all like things and don't like things, and that's all fine as long as we're kind to ourselves and we know that that's okay, and we don't have to do something we don't want to, and we can still be successful without doing retreats or spa days or anything that just make us feel really stressed.
A friend of mine, she arranged a wellness day in Moucop last year. I don't know if you're familiar with Moucop. It's sort of Cheshire, Staffordshire border, so not quite Peak District.
No, so just across from us, across the other side.
So I can see that out of one of my windows. In fact, you could see it from a lot of places around here on a clear day. But yeah, she was so stressed. I mean, the day went very well. There was a couple of hiccups in the what's the word I'm looking for? The agenda, just because somebody didn't want to run something at the same time as somebody else. Let's put it that way, which I could understand. So, but that impacted on everybody else. So, yeah, she was very stressed, even though it was, you know, wellbeing day and everyone else was, you know, relaxed and up there with the fairies and very chilled. So, but yeah, you know, it's the kind of the structure of it and the setting of it, it's all situational, isn't it? And it's all about what the client and the individual wants, and they will find the person that's in that right space to help them.
Oh, they will absolutely, for sure. And we all do, you know, we all find the people that are attracted to us, and it's not just necessarily about the things that we're saying, it is about the whole package. And that's something that perhaps we don't really think about in our marketing as much, but some people would be absolutely comforted by the fact that I would never ask them to do anything like that, because it also fills me with horror. Whereas other people would be like, oh, well, I need to be in that space in order for my brain to kind of think differently. And it's like, great, you know, that's just great. But it probably means that, you know, you're not a match. And I also think that that's really important, that we can self-select like that and say yes to people and no to other people. It's all, there's probably about 100 different facets that attract us to other people and whether we want to work with them or not.
There is definitely. And even when you come just to mention sort of masculine and feminine in terms of the style that's being delivered or the structure that's being offered. I mean, I've had a couple of coaches in the past and they've been so structured, it's just been too much for me. And I've kind of repelled against it, because it's just not, you know, I'm structured to a point, and then I've got to do something different, and you know, I'll do whatever I can to get out of it, just to do something different, because you know, my brain sort of says this is too much. It's kind of, it has this effect of sort of closing in on me, and I think that's another reason why I like getting outside so much, because it just frees that. But yeah, let's say each to their own.
No, but it's really interesting, and there is absolutely zero judgment on any of it, because we like what we like and we're comfortable with what we like. And that's not to say you shouldn't sometimes try new things and sometimes push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, but not to the extent that you're coming out in a rash or your blood pressure's sky high because of the thing that you're doing. You know, I mean, that's, business shouldn't be like that.
No, you've got to try things to see if it's for you or not. But I think the issue is when you get stuck in doing something that you know you don't enjoy, or and you know, as you say, you come out in a rash. I mean, actually, physically speaking, some people could do that, because you know, physical stuff is sort of, you know, emotions that we can't let go of as well, isn't it? So it's all kind of interlinked. Yeah. So, Libby, it's been fabulous to catch up with you after so long, and thanks for sharing your time. I'm going to include links in the show notes so that people can find your podcast, find ways to work with you, get access to your book. But is there anything else that you want to share, or perhaps leave the listeners or the watchers with a takeaway of one of your simplified ways of business?
Well, I suppose just really quickly, the thing would be to ask yourself, does this make me happy? With things that you're doing. If, you know, if something's kind of not sitting right, everything that you're doing in your business, does this make me happy? And if the answer is yes, amazing, do more of it. And if the answer is no, then ask yourself, does it need doing at all? Could someone else do it? Or is it something that I just have to do, but I acknowledge that I don't really enjoy it, you know? And that little exercise alone will give more peace and joy and fun into the daily working day. Daily working week.
Daily working week.
Yeah.
It is. I've done a similar exercise a while ago with clients, and do the clients make me happy? And you know, it was just a simple A4 sheet. I got a few columns with some criteria on there, and it was actually it was the sole reason why I got rid of said goodbye to several clients, and my life was a lot happier after they went, because you know, some of them bought me out in that rash that you mentioned.
No, it's true, but I don't know why. It's like we're kind of beholden to activities or people or something in a business. And it's like the whole point of having your own business is you get to choose. And if you don't like working with someone, part ways. If you don't like doing something, get someone else to do it. You know, it's when you say it like that, it's like, oh, well, of course, because that's really logical. But actually almost taking that step back from yourself and asking yourself that question is something that people rarely do. But yeah, happiness and joy and fun are fundamental to a business being successful and life being good.
Definitely. Yeah, you've got to have that balance in all those areas. Super. Well, thank you very much, Libby. It's been tremendous to talk to you. Thank you for listening to today's Writing with Purpose podcast. Having conversations with fellow writers or adventure enthusiasts brings two of my biggest loves in life together, writing and nature connection. I've been a copywriter and content creator for 23 years, but my passion is writing for well-being, and I'm on a mission to share the benefits that putting pen to paper has for personal wellness with as many people as possible. If you want to learn more about writing for your well-being and journaling techniques, please connect with me in my Facebook group, Journaling with Anna.